I almost didn't do this because I'm like, why did I schedule this today? It's way too nice. And I just my heart's not in this. But let's talk about it. Again, over the years we keep hearing, we'll call it the dick wagon, if you want to call it that, between the racetracks on each side of the river, Yonkers Raceway and Meadowlands, the hatred and fighting between Jeff Corral, Joe Feraldo, everything that we all know, a lot of people don't want to talk about. Yonkers Raceway, tons of money, short fields. Boys are short fields. They're even doing this new horse incentive. So people are trying to race there, but they haven't changed what the problem is. They control who's allowed to race there. You need their blessing. So the new horse incentive only applies to guys that are already racing there and approved there. So they're just filling their pockets even more, still racing short fields. It's just a joke. Meanwhile, it's $60 million in state-generated revenue being controlled by 3 people. That's going to be another story for another day. But anyway, people call me or message me and they're always asking, why don't you do this? You should do that. Look into this. How come this is happening? How come I'm not allowed to race? How come this one's allowed to race? It's funny because I've been contacted by people who are actually in trouble, got in trouble, or have a family member that got in trouble. So rather than just ignore or attack them, I started to look at it from both perspectives. Yeah. How come, again, I'm in trouble, this individual is in trouble, but that individual is on a suspension or whatever, and they're like, it doesn't make any sense. And the name that keeps coming up, Bryce Cody. Bryce said this, Bryce did that. Shade said, call back next week. Call back next week. Try again next week. Bryce said, try again next week. Talk about it next week. And it goes on for years. So this person, trainer who is trying to race at Corral tracks, said, I even tried to get into Tioga. They had to cancel a card. Spoke directly to Shades, who talked to Bryce, and Bryce said no. And the reason being that if I have someone who's excluded from our tracks, the spouse cannot race here. Okay. Makes sense. But then you got other individuals who have been handed down a suspension and are allowed to continue or are on a stay. We'll just use the Spices, for example. Simon has, since he was found, horse tested positive from methoxytyramine, got a 380 days, I guess that's a year at the NJRC, and was granted a stay. It is now 2026 since he was found, or this positive came back and was handed down the suspension. His wife is down as trainer. Now, I don't understand. Why isn't he still down as trainer? Or was there a deal? We don't know. And this is where the questions of favoritism come up. Well, how come A and B can't race there because A either got in trouble or is excluded by Team Corral, and then B wants to race there, passes all the check marks for I'm actually the trainer. Again, we all know how this works out, because in my opinion, you may as well just say nothing's changed. If the guys at the barn, if they're still working together, just stop. What I don't understand is how come, again, the rules are different for everybody. And it's controlled by one person who's supposed to be the buffer between Jeff Corral and this, so he isn't held responsible, but he's aware of this. And again, I want to ask him, I would love to have Jeff come on with me. Enough of this. You know what? I don't care anymore about the hurting people's feelings. What he thinks, what they think of me, doesn't matter. I've done nothing wrong in harness racing, and I'm unwelcome, right? So what's there to lose? You got And we'll even bring up the Bongiornos. Do you hold people accountable for the actions or history of immediate relatives? We all see Joey's racing. He's the trainer. He's killing it lately. People immediately raises a lot of questions. I think the same thing. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not. But I talked to the guy. I think that of a lot of people, like these guys that are all. There's a lot of question marks. You see his dad in the paddock warming up for him. I guess he helps and trains it and jogs at the barn or whatever. Where's the line? Does it make a difference? At this point, why even have rules? It doesn't make any sense. Just because it is a free-for-all and guys are all hiding. You got people sending in pictures from Golden Shoe Training Center on other ones. You got a guy, Fern Paquette. He's not allowed to race there. His girl is upset. They can't fill cards up there at Tioga Downs. They're handling $60,000 to $80,000 a card, and you're telling people no. And at the same time, Jeff Gural is crying, "Horsemen don't help me. They won't help me fill the cards." Just stop. Let everybody race. Does it matter? They're gonna find a way anyway. It's kind of like a few years ago, they wanted to give people who are undocumented, I don't know if they've done it or some states have, but give them a driver's license. Well, at least you have some semblance of an idea of where they are and what they're up to. Some way to monitor them. Maybe, I don't know. Again, and then Howard Taylor. I've been reading I guess this trial has been pushed back even a little further. Doesn't look like the trial is going to start until January of 2027. That's the fifth delay. Sneezy Bahama, what's up? That's the way that works. I'm starting to believe, and actually I'm not going to say starting to, I think Howard has a case. Because is it a case of a personal grievance or vendetta against somebody? Why is he not allowed to race? Why is this other ABC allowed to race? How come these people who are on, well, you bring up Pear again. How many years are we going to be on appeal? The Superior Court injunction, or whatever you want to call it, stay, is going on for how long? There's no end in sight. In the meantime, status quo, business as usual, earning exorbitant amounts of money. I don't know what to say. And the funny thing is, I get these messages from people, not just the people involved. I'm talking about other people who are angry that they're allowed to. Why are they racing here? Does it come down to they just need horses? Well, I would love to get an answer from Jeff Gural or Jason Settlemore to just make me understand and say, listen, this is the way it is. They're going to let this, or this race and that not because of whatever. Don't even bother to ask. But they also, they're shooting themselves in the foot at the same time and contradicting what they're saying by putting out press releases. Horsemen don't help me. Horsemen got to do the right thing. I don't have good. But what's the difference? At this point, what's the difference? Let everybody race. Don't even do pre-race or post-race testing anymore, because you know what? These horses going 6 miles. You're seeing the same thing with certain individuals. Horses are dropping. What did you say, Mr. Gural? It's impossible. Well, that's not impossible. It's likely when there are things going on that you can't catch. So to the people that are asking me, and they even said to say their names, I'm not going to do it anymore. Everybody knows. It's the usual suspects, and my response to them too is, if it was you looking at, and they say they're doing it anyway, if it's you and you're looking at someone else, you're going to question them. Yet you're technically just as guilty as they are. When you're told to just fly under the radar, you don't. Just do the right thing and shut up, and maybe this too will pass, and they'll allow you back in. I would love, and here's the thing, I don't think he can do it because of what's going on with the Taylor lawsuit. I would love to have Jeff on the phone with me and just tell us what's really going on. And even talk about things like the casino. Tell us the truth. What is your real gut feeling? What's happening? We're seeing now that you're looking to downsize the casino. You know, are you realizing that it's just oversaturated, that it's unrealistic? They're never going to let go of the power of that in Atlantic City. Maybe give you a racino, slot machines, something. Or is it just time to fold the tents? All I can say is, are people treated unfairly? Maybe it's not unfair, it's inequality. Different set of rules for different people. Do I feel as though they pick favorites? Absolutely. And I should know. I went in there, protected myself, and when I walked out of there, a little too brazen and smarter than, well, they took, let's say they underestimated me. And I walked out of there with information that I had every right to obtain. And Mr. Cody actually says, go ahead and record, I don't care. Okay, I was. You called the cops on me. I know, it's over. Water under the bridge. But my point is, if you go back and you look at the chronology of everything that's happened, nobody's treated equally. Nobody's treated the same. And that's why you're having such a tough time at the Meadowlands, even your other tracks. Well, I don't even know you can count them anymore. That's been ongoing for years. But the Meadowlands, you've really shot yourself in the foot. There are no corgi races or wiener dog races or corn on the cob eating contests or whatever that's going to save anything right there anymore. It comes down to your product. It comes down to the way you've marketed it. Again, you are so disconnected from reality when it comes to what the demographic that you are missing there that would make the place successful again, and that's the 40 and under crowd. You have no idea what they really want, and you're certainly not giving it to them. And then at the same time, you cry that the horsemen aren't helping you, and you even have the audacity to point fingers across the river at what they're doing when what you're doing is no different. It may not be, it's the same thing in a different way. It's picking your favorites, it's control, it's playing God, and you have the right to do that. It's your playground. Are they a little more, do I think they're a little more guilty on the other side? You're not reaping the rewards of, state generated funds by the tune of $60 million a year. And because this new governor sees reality and that why are we spending good money behind bad with this harness racing and even thoroughbreds in New Jersey, you're down to $2.5 million a year. She gets her budget passed. All I'm doing is speaking facts. And I don't see anybody doing anything about it. And Hambo 2027. Anybody have any idea where that's going to be next year? Or is this just one more hissy fit? And in the 11th hour, it's going to be at the Meadowlands again. I think it's time to just, you know what? Maybe let this go down with some dignity and stop micromanaging and controlling people's lives. Because there are some good people also, they're getting hurt by your decisions. And your lack of insight and foresight as to what is best for your own racetrack. You just, again, it's a slow sinking here. As for those people that I've been talking to, don't compare yourselves to what the other people are doing. That's only going to make it worse. If they've got it out for you, you're not getting back in. You got a better shot of getting back into the medal, and well, about the same shot as I do of getting back into the business. It's just not going to happen unless there's a complete changing of attitude and the guard at the top. That's the way it is. The way the Meadowlands is being run isn't going to change. Mr. Corral is too stubborn and just too snake bit now to even care, which I empathize for him there, because he made bad. Well, I shouldn't say this. That he didn't make bad decisions. He expected too much and thought it was just going to happen. And the reality is it's not. Anyway, anyone else out there feels as though they're being mistreated by a track, I'd like to know how many people this year tried to race at Yonkers Raceway, went through their endless application process, and were denied with no strikes against you, because that's the trick here. Anyway, catch you all later.